Like school, e-learning.
Now, question 4 is an academic task, which means you have to learn about something that you might learn in college. And this question is formatted in a certain way. First, there is a reading passage. Now, this reading will be something like the homework that you read before you go into the lecture the next day, or something the professor hands out at the beginning of class that is related to the lecture. So the two are very much related. They might even repeat a little bit, but you only have to say it once. And then there's the lecture. And the lecture is expanding or giving examples on the reading passage. Now this question is talking about impression management. Impression management. Now, it's really important in TOEFL to define your terms. You can't just talk about impression management like your listener will know what you're talking about. At the very beginning, you have to define what impression management is. So impression management is the process where everybody does it, you do it, I do it, anybody does it. We try to control others' impressions of a person, event, or social interaction. So we do this by making choices of how to make other people think a certain way. For example, when you go out with your friends, I'm sure many of you get dressed in very casual but nice clothes. By dressing casually, you are showing that you are cool and confident, and you don't have to put on a lot of fancy stuff to show that you belong outside. Or if you're applying for a job, you would wear a suit and a tie if you're a guy, or for a girl, you'd wear a nice dress, or a suit maybe even. So depending on who you're with, how that interaction is going, you are trying to control what people think of you. That's what impression management is. So people, you and I, your teachers, your principal, the president, make a choice of which side to present under certain circumstances. Now, very rarely do we present a side of ourselves that doesn't exist. That doesn't really happen, but people have different sides to themselves. I behave differently at work than I do at home, and I behave differently with my mom than I do with my friends. So we each have this side of our personality, and we make a choice of which side is appropriate for the situation. That's a constant choice we're making. And it usually pertains to first impression. A first impression is when you first meet somebody and you make an opinion about them. So if you meet somebody and they're dirty and have greasy hair and their shirt is unbuttoned or, just don't look good, you probably will think, I don't really want to talk to him. He might be smelly, he thinks. And even though he may have just been camping and for some reason he's dirty, he's on his way home, you will ever think of him as a little dirty. Or if you meet somebody and they're in a nice suit and their hair is sleeked back and they talk with you with, confidence, you will think, oh, he is confident, he is capable of doing many things. We have this idea of people, especially, and we generally make a choice of which side to present when we first meet somebody. After that, people kind of have an idea about each other. I have an idea who you are, you have an idea of who I am, and you don't really have to change it too much. And so this is what we learn in the reading passage, and some from the lecture passage. But the professor especially gives us examples. That is what the lecture is doing in this case, giving us 2 examples of people using impression management. The first example is a speaker who's making a choice to wear her best outfit at a formal presentation. So this might be for the president of a company or to a great audience, but she is deciding to wear her best outfit to look the best that she can look. This does something very specific. It communicates that she has put as much thought and effort in her presentation as she did in her outfit. So people will see her and be like, oh, she looks really good. She must have put a lot of effort into her appearance. she probably put as much effort into her presentation. So people will take her more seriously, showing that she has done a lot of work and that this presentation will be of good quality. So she does that by wearing a nice outfit to make people think, oh, she must be good. Oh, that makes sense. The second example is a professor at a college giving the dean a ride. Now, the dean is sort of like the president or a principal, except especially at big colleges, there are many deans. There's the dean of academic affairs, there's the dean of admissions, and basically they're the person in charge of that group. So this professor, the dean is generally the boss of the professor, or at least, you know, an authority figure. And this professor is giving this dean a car ride. So before the professor picks up the dean in her car, she will wash the car and have it detailed. Now, detailing your car is when you not only wash the outside, but you clean the inside. And you clean around, like on the radio, you clean all the grime off the buttons, and you know, wash the seats, and you wash the floor, and you wash the vents where the air comes out. It's basically an all-around cleaning, focusing on the details, which is why it's called a detail. And she will have her radio, the music, set to classical music, rather than, you know, like headbanger rock and roll or punk or pop. You know, if you want to be taken seriously, you listen to classical music. If you are a professor and you're listening to I don't know, 21 or, you know, Lady Gaga, and then you're giving a ride to the dean, that doesn't look so good. So she has her car washed and detailed and her radio set. And by doing that, she is showing that she is a perfectionist. Her car is clean. She likes things to be clean. She likes to be perfect. She likes to do everything in a right order. She is a perfectionist. And that she is sophisticated. She doesn't listen to 21. She doesn't listen to Lady Gaga. She likes to listen to classical music because she is sophisticated. She likes nice things, and she, you know, might drink red wine with fish or something. You know, she's very, I guess, you know, she's not colloquial, or she's not casual in any way. She would only wear the best clothes. So she's making the dean think she's a certain person. So both of these, the speech giver and the professor, are making a choice of which face they want to present, which side of themselves they want to present. I'm sure this professor has something of a perfectionist inside of her. She's not a slob who decided to clean her car. She is a woman who likes to have things clean, and so she made things especially clean for the dean to convey a certain identity. She is conveying that she is thoughtful, and she is conveying that she is a perfectionist. Both of these send a certain message using impression management. So when you are taking your notes, what I have found works for me is to take a pretty detailed script, essentially. You have 45 seconds to read the reading passage. And I like to make a script really quick of what's important, what is being conveyed, what do we learn from here. And we write it down, and then you're listening to the lecture, and the lecture will relate to this in a certain way. And then I have 1, 2, like it's clear distinctions. And then here is my conclusion, choice of which face individuals present. And that will give you from A to B to C to D to F, all really smoothly, if you take good notes. So when you take a look at my response, which I'm hoping you will see that I went directly through the reading passage, and then I went directly through the lecture. So why don't you take a look?